Welcome to another video. I am so sorry. It has been a hot month since I have uploaded a video, and that is because we all got COVID a few weeks ago, including Quinn. So all three of us, we were down for the count for a couple weeks. It was pretty brutal, honestly, because Quinn had a cold before we got COVID, and then we all got COVID, and then it was like a big recovery process. So I was planning on uploading a video at the end of October. For obvious reasons, that didn't happen. So now we're already in the middle of November. So I feel like I have a lot to catch you guys up on. There's a lot to update you guys on. And for those of you who are brand new to my channel, welcome. I upload 1 to 2 videos a month all about fertility health. I share all about my IVF journey. I have now my 20-month-old, can't believe he'll be 2 soon, who is my IVF miracle baby. And so now I'm in the process of trying to conceive baby number 2, of course through IVF. And I recently lost my IVF baby back in August. And so this is one of the last videos in a big video series I've done. I think I've done now 3 or 4 videos before this, all about my recovery process after loss, what it's looked like health-wise for me, how I'm getting myself healthy again, because we do have one more embryo that hopefully will be transferring in spring of 2025. I could transfer earlier, but I just don't think I'm going to be physically, mentally ready to transfer until at least spring of 2025. And so I've just been creating videos the last few months of like my grieving process, my health journey process, how I'm getting myself healthy physically and mentally after loss. And it is my first loss I've experienced, and gosh, you guys, I don't know how a lot of you have gone through more than one loss. I honestly can't go through this again, and so it scares the living daylights out of me to think about transferring again and losing another baby. So I just need to give myself a little bit more time to like mentally heal and go through more of the grieving process. I think I'll know when I'm ready. My gut and my heart will tell me, and everything in me is telling me to wait at least a few more months. So all that to say, welcome to the video and welcome to my channel. Also, excuse the wet hair. I didn't realize how late it is in the day, and I need to pick up Quinn from daycare soon, and so I was like, oh shoot, I gotta get in the shower, I gotta record this video. The other thing I'm gonna do while I talk to you guys is I'm gonna make my lunch for tomorrow. I work tomorrow, and normally I try to get all of my things prepared for my work day the day before, and I do only work part-time. I work Mondays and Thursdays, and they're 10 to 12-hour shifts, so basically I work all of my hours in 2 days because they're long shifts, and I'm an OR nurse. I work in an outpatient surgery center about 5 minutes away from my house, but because my day starts so early, I have to be at work by 6:30. I try to get like my lunch ready the day before and all my stuff packed the day before, and I try to get it all done before I pick Quinn up from daycare. Today's Wednesday, I work Thursday tomorrow. Wednesdays are my only day I have without Quinn to myself, so I try to get all my chores done, laundry, all the things done without him, because you guys, you don't get anything done with a toddler. Nothing gets done with a toddler until he naps. Okay, so I really need to get a wide lens from my camera, but I don't have a wide lens, so in order for you guys to see my face and see what I'm doing, I'm sort of at a weird, really far away angle. You're not gonna be able to see everything I'm doing if you want to see my face. So the last time I talked with you guys, I was telling you all about my naturopath and how I was really excited to work with her, and I was excited to have her help me heal my body and get my body ready for the next transfer. And I told you guys all about the labs that she had me draw. We drew a bunch of baseline labs, blood levels, labs to test kidney function, liver function. Everything's healthy, but my hormone levels are super low, and that we weren't surprised by that. And according to my fertility clinic, it's not uncommon for labs to be really low, especially estrogen and progesterone after a miscarriage. So my fertility clinic wasn't surprised. My naturopath, she wasn't surprised. All my labs were really low. So she put me on an herbal liquid to help increase my estrogen levels, and vitamin B12, since my vitamin B12 is a little bit low, and also DHEA to help increase my testosterone, because my testosterone is really low. And then by increasing estrogen and testosterone, my progesterone should automatically increase as well. Anyways, so I was on track for that. I was taking all the supplements every day. I was doing light therapy in the morning and 7 minutes of exercise within half an hour of waking up to increase my cortisol levels, because my cortisol levels were pretty low in the morning. We want our cortisol levels to be a little bit higher in the morning when we wake up. So I was doing all that. It was going really well. The problem though is I was still bleeding, and I'm currently still bleeding. This is how long it's been since I've uploaded a video. I think it's been over a month since I've talked with you guys. I was bleeding then, but I was only, I think, like 5 weeks post DNC. It's kind of expected to maybe still be spotting, but now I am 3 months post DNC. My DNC was August 30th and I am still bleeding. So about a week or so after I uploaded my last video, so I'm gonna say this was October, end of October sometime, I had a baseline uterine ultrasound, and I also had hormone levels drawn by my fertility clinic since I was still bleeding. And my baseline uterine ultrasound didn't show anything. They couldn't find anything. So they also ended up drawing hormone labs. So estrogen, progesterone. I don't think they did testosterone, just estrogen and progesterone. This was at the end of October. And so all that came back really low. I was still bleeding. So 2 weeks ago now, they put me on the birth control pill, my fertility clinic. And I did not want to be put on the birth control pill because, as you guys know, I've been trying to stay off the birth control pill because that's what messed me up initially and had started my whole infertility journey years and years ago. And I just wanted to give my body time off the pill just to try to get a natural cycle back before going in for another transfer. I just feel like if I could have a natural cycle, it's just like it's a huge step in healing my body before going in for another transfer. But we really have to stop this bleeding. And so they did put me on the birth control pill 2 weeks ago now, and that initially did stop the bleeding, but it restarted again. So I went in for a SIS ultrasound last week. So SIS stands for saline infused sonogram. And basically what that is it's a more detailed uterine ultrasound to figure out what's wrong, what's going on using saline. So the process of squirting saline up into the uterus highlights the details of the uterus and can give them like a better detail through ultrasound, like maybe what's going on. So I had that done. And the other reason why they had put me on the pill too, not only to try to stop bleeding, but also they normally do the SIS ultrasound 5 to 6 days into your cycle if you are menstruating. And because I'm not menstruating, they can't time that. So being on the birth control pill just puts me at baseline, and so then they can do the SIS ultrasound whenever they want to. Got that done last week and it was inconclusive, but what they did see was some sort of it looked like a white blob in my uterus, and they don't know what it is. They were like trying to go around with the ultrasound to try to figure out what that was, and they don't know. The other thing too, I was of course bleeding during the ultrasound, and so they couldn't really get a clear picture of what that was. We clearly saw some sort of a white blob in my uterus, but because there was so much blood, we couldn't get a clear picture of what it was. So now I'm going to go in for a hysteroscopy next week, so November 20th in Seattle. I live in Tacoma, so it's about an hour away. I can do most procedures at the Tacoma branch, which is 10 minutes away from my house, but for the hysteroscopy, I guess their equipment broke or something at the Tacoma office. So now I have to drive an hour to Seattle, November 20th, to get a hysteroscopy to try to figure out why I'm still bleeding, to try to figure out what that blob thing was, this white thing they saw on my SIS ultrasound, what that thing is, and get to the bottom, really ultimately get to the bottom of why I'm still bleeding, even on the birth control pill, why I'm still bleeding. It's interesting how it did make it stop for a couple of days, but what I did was I did miss one pill. So I thought initially I was bleeding because I missed one pill, but I'm still bleeding currently, and that happened last week. I have a suspicion that I still have some pregnancy tissue left over in my uterus. I think that's what they're suspecting too. So the biggest thing to now anticipate is my hysteroscopy. I'm going in for next week. I've never had one before. I'm hearing so many different experiences from people on Instagram. People are DMing me like, hey, it was super easy, don't worry about it. Other people were like, no, it's the most painful thing I've ever done. Other people are like, no, I was sedated for it under general anesthesia. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I reached out to my fertility nurse yesterday asking like, am I gonna be sedated for this? Am I gonna have anesthesia? And she's like, nope, no sedation, no anesthesia. You can drive yourself. It's just basically like a detailed ultrasound, which when I looked it up is not. It's actually a scope they put up in your uterus, and there's a camera at the end of it, and they can take like live video and pictures of all the details going on in the uterus. And also I think they shoot water up there because it is a scope kind of thing. I'm a little nervous for that because I have so many different people telling me their experiences. There's a wide range of experiences. So I was planning on driving myself, and now I don't know if I'm gonna do that. By the way, if you're wondering what I'm mixing up, it's peanut butter, honey, and hemp hearts all mixed up. I put a little too much honey, so it's like, it looks messy, but that's a little blob there. I'm gonna put it on bread, and that's gonna be part of my lunch tomorrow. I know it's weird. It's actually really delicious. I love peanut butter and honey sandwiches. To try to make it healthier, I add hemp seeds, hemp hearts, because these are really high in protein, so it adds more protein to it. And then these like sandwich thins, they're 100 calories each, so not terrible for me. But I also make this sandwich when I'm running out of groceries. I need to go grocery shopping again. I ran out of salad. I ran out of my sardines that I put on top of my greens. That's like my go-to lunch for work, but this is sort of my backup plan. But anyways, it's delicious. If you ever want to try mixing honey, peanut butter, and hemp hearts all together, put it on bread, toast, it's delicious. Yeah, so long story short, still bleeding. It's more of like a period bleed and spotting. So I am really tired of wearing pads and tampons. I'm done. And I'm really still kind of in the grieving process for me, which I'll tell you in a second. I'm getting better. Like every day, there's not a day that goes by I don't think about it. You know, losing our daughter will always be a part of my story and she'll always be with me. But I don't cry every day anymore. So I feel like I'm making progress. I'm trying to separate these slices, really stuck together. But every time I go to the bathroom and see blood, it brings it all back. And I'm just over it. I would really love to stop bleeding, really for my mental health, but it's just annoying at this point. I mean, 3 months of bleeding is it's a long time. I think there's more to it than hormones. I think hormones play a part in me still bleeding, but I think there's something going on in my uterus physically. So we will find out on the 20th, hopefully, what's going on and go from there. So that's the main update. I put everything on hold with my naturopath because we got to figure out why I'm bleeding still. So I stopped the supplements for now, just because now I'm on the pill and my fertility clinic has kind of taken over my care right now and they want to know everything I'm taking. So I've stopped all that for now, and then I'm hoping that once we take care of whatever's going on, I can resume myself under her care and start taking all those supplements again. My fertility nurse was telling me, she's like, you know, we'd prefer you to stay on the pill until you're ready to transfer, and that way it keeps everything at baseline. I really don't know what to do. Like I said, my plan was to stay off of it and then go on it right before I'm ready to transfer. I just would love to get my cycle back, my natural cycle back, but they prefer me to stay on the pill just so that they know what's going on with me, that it keeps me at baseline, and then that way I'm already on the pill so that when I'm ready to transfer, I don't have to like go back on it and see what my body does. I mean, and I do feel good on it. I don't feel any different. I don't know what I'm gonna do. According to my husband, he's like, you should just do what your fertility clinic says to do. You should just do what SRM says for you to do, because at the end of the day, they're gonna put you back on the birth control pill. So what's the point of like being off of it? I see his point. I see my own point. Anyways, that's a long-winded explanation as to where my mind's at right now with all of that physical stuff. Okay, so mentally, like I said, I'm doing better. I can tell you guys that the thought of transferring again scares me, like I mentioned before, and I think it's because I don't know how I'm going to face another loss if a loss happens out of the transfer. This is really taking a toll on me, losing baby, and I don't know how I could do it again. And I really don't know how I could go through a failed transfer, because in my mind, a failed transfer is kind of the same thing as a loss. It's the same thing in my mind. And I know we're always stronger than we think we are, but like I really struggled after losing baby, and I don't know how I could do it again. You know, and also this next embryo is our last embryo, so this is the last transfer period, and that also scares me. And so I think at this point, like, I'm still sad, but now I'm starting to think about the future, and I'm getting nervous again. And you know, as I'm thinking about the next transfer and what I should be doing now, and like all the prep work leading up to it, it also brings back like what I just went through. It's a lot. I don't even know how to describe it. But I can tell you guys that I'm doing a lot better. At least I can think about like moving forward in the next transfer without like freaking out and crying and man, I don't know. It's heavy. Oh man, this is my hummus that has gone bad. I'll be using this. I have veggies left over I have a crock pot meal cooking right now. I am really into crock pot meals right now because they're so easy. You just throw everything in a pot in the morning, let it cook all day, and then you have dinner ready. So this is probably like my 5th or 6th crock pot meal I've done in the last few weeks. Anyways, I had leftover veggies from the crock pot meal that I prepared this morning. So I'm gonna bring these to work, and I always like to dip veggies in hummus at work. Now I don't have hummus, darn it. I'm trying to improve my mental health more, especially in preparation for the next transfer. So if you guys have heard of the app Headspace, highly recommend getting it, or if you've already gotten it, there is a new section on Headspace called, I think it's called fertility health, or it's something fertility, and that meditation topic is fantastic. So if you guys are into meditation or want to try out meditation, highly recommend using the app Headspace. I've used it for years. They make it super easy. It's just 5 to 10. Sometimes the longer meditations can be 15 minutes, but I just normally do the 5 or 10 minute meditations, and they're super easy app to use. And especially if you're brand new to meditation like me, I mean, I'm not brand new, I've used this app since like 2017, for a long time. I'm really like not the best at meditating. My mind wanders so much. I have a really hard time with it, but this app makes it really easy. Headspace is what I've been doing I've been trying to do it every day. There's been a couple days where I just forgot, but I normally meditate at night because that's when my anxiety is highest. And now that they have this new fertility section for meditation, it's really, really nice. There's a couple meditations on how to prepare your mind and body before a procedure. So that's what I've been doing recently in the last couple weeks, is really trying to meditate every day. I notice a huge difference when I do it. And then I was doing somatic therapy with my therapist, but I've stopped that for now. I mean, it's expensive, number one, but number two, she's given me quite a few tools that I'm able to use now in my everyday life. It's been really helpful. But bottom line is, this therapist is not a mom. She doesn't really know about postpartum. She doesn't really know about like IVF and fertility treatments. So I'm looking for a new therapist who knows all that or has a background in that, because I feel like I need somebody who knows my world right now. And unfortunately she doesn't. She's offered a lot of tools for me to use just to help myself calm down and anxiety and things like that. So I'm so grateful for the therapy sessions I've had with her, but now I'm looking for somebody who knows our world. The other thing that I want to try to do is get into acupuncture again. And so I'll probably use that money that I was using towards my somatic therapy sessions to now use towards acupuncture. I can't afford both. And acupuncture has always just been so helpful for me. And so I'm looking into trying to figure out which acupuncturist now to go to, because mine that I've always used in the past, she's just now in Seattle, and I'm not going to drive an hour to acupuncture. So my goal is to start that up again. So lastly, what I've been doing is really making it a point to focus on myself. I know that sounds like so simple and so like cliche, but I always say, always remember to be kind to yourself. And I'm really trying to put that into practice. And there's somebody I follow on Instagram. He's a doctor of naturopath, and he does a bunch of somatic work himself. I've followed him for years. I listen to his podcast. His name is Dr. Gonzalez, and he has an Instagram. I'll put here his Instagram handle. And then also his podcast is called Heal Thyself. I love this guy so much. I think he's super smart. His beliefs all align with what mine are, and I just think he's just really in tune with what the human body needs. And I was listening to one of his podcasts a few weeks ago, and basically was saying like the key to health, the key to actual whole health is connecting to your inner self and connecting with nature. But really number one is connecting to your inner self. And I've heard that before. I've heard that phrase being thrown around. I'm like, what does that, I don't understand what that means. But it clicked when he said, connecting to your inner self means that you are never alone because you have you. And I was like, wow, like that makes total sense to me. Like, you are your own friend. And he was kind of like getting at basically loneliness is the cause of a whole bunch of physical things, physical ailments. They're actually finding out that a big cause of cancer is loneliness. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy how the mind and spirit and body are all so interconnected. Basically saying that like you can combat loneliness by having a really good relationship with yourself, with your inner self. You're never alone because you always have you. I mean, I almost cried. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so comforting. Those words are so comforting. And to get out in nature, you can really connect with your inner self, because nature, going on walks and hikes and just being outside really grounds you and reminds you where we all have come from. Like, we all come from the same place. We all come from Earth. I mean, it really humbles you to see, like, I live in the Pacific Northwest, and the huge trees and the water expansion. I live by the South Sound, and nature and animal life, and it reminds you of where we come from. We get all caught up in life and all caught up in all these things things. We feel like we need each other so much, which we do. But at the same time, like, you're never alone. You have you. It's just like, oh my gosh, I almost cried. I was like, okay, that's so liberating. That brings me so much peace. And so really focusing on positive self-talk, like building myself up, saying I can do it, like really valuing my body, really valuing who I am. And I literally talk to myself. I talk to my heart when I go in for my fertility clinic because my heart's racing. I get so nervous. I'm like, but you're fine. Heart, you're okay. Like, I talk to my heart, you know. And now that I'm still bleeding, I talk to my uterus like, why are you still bleeding? It's gonna be okay. And it sounds so stupid, but that has brought me a lot of peace to really be in connection with me. And that's the part I think I was really missing before my loss, is like, I didn't really, I mean, I know who I am, right? But like, are we really in tune with our bodies? Are we really in tune with ourselves? Are we really asking ourselves, like, are you okay? Like, you know, what do I need right now? You know, really valuing us as us. And so I'm really working on that, and I'm finding a lot of comfort and peace as I'm doing this. I don't know, for me right now, it's kind of one day at a time, and one procedure at a time. Get through my hysteroscopy next week, and then it's gonna be already Thanksgiving. So I know that I'm not gonna be able to get up another video after this one this month, and December is gonna be really busy because of Christmas. We're gonna be flying down to California to see our families again, just like we did last year. So I'll be lucky if I get one video up in December. But then starting in the new year, my goal is 2 videos a month. And gosh, you guys, I cannot believe it's almost 2025. But honestly, a lot of you can probably relate to what I'm gonna say. I'm ready for 2024 to be over. Everything that I've gone through personally, but then, you know, with the election and stuff too on top of that, like, it's just a lot. 2024 has been a lot. Oh man, between Quinn turning 1 February 28th, he was just starting to crawl at the end of January of this year. And then he turned 1, and then I was still breastfeeding. Oh my gosh, you guys, a lot happens in a year. And now, like, oh, he's like running around and talking, and I'm talking to, you know, I went through loss and then the election, and then, oh man, then I'm already talking about the next transfer. It's like, wow, you know, time goes by really fast and life is really precious. Hopefully, those of you watching this, I've given you some ideas on your own personal journey of going through loss and grief, if that's what you're going through, or give you some ideas on self-care. Speaking of, I got my lunch all ready for tomorrow. The sandwich, got some walnuts and Brazil nuts for omegas and thyroid health. I got my veggies without hummus, and then I'll probably throw in an apple. I have a banana. I'm really trying to eat more fruits and vegetables. It's been kind of hard for me because now I have a toddler and I feel like I just eat everything on the go and eat his snacks. And I'll probably bring something else, probably a Go Macro bar. All right, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for all of your guys' support and your love and just being there for me. Hopefully I'm there for you too, and I brought you some peace and some comfort through these videos. I think for the next video, I'll be sort of now transitioning more into my journey into prepping for the next transfer. I'm sure I'll have updates on my hysteroscopy, and maybe I'll try to figure out if I'm gonna work with my naturopath again or if I'm gonna stay on the pill. I don't know what I'm gonna do in that situation yet. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, because it does really help support my channel. I will see you guys in the next video, and of course, always remember to be kind to yourself.